In this lesson, we study verbs, one of the most powerful parts of speech in English. Verbs bring action, state, time, and meaning into a sentence. Once verbs become clear, the whole structure of English starts feeling much easier. In add action, notice to every sentence. In show time, notice through tense and form. A sentence may contain many words, but the verb often carries the core movement or condition. It tells us what happens, what exists, what changes, or what someone does. Weak verb understanding leads to tense errors, agreement mistakes, and broken sentence flow. In meaning becomes clear, notice when the verb is right. In tenses become easier, notice when forms are understood. By the end of this lesson, you will understand what verbs are, how different verb types work, how verbs behave in tense patterns, and how to avoid several very common learner mistakes. In identify, notice verbs in real sentences. In compare, notice action, state, helping, and linking verbs. Verbs do more than show action. Some verbs show states, some help other verbs, some connect the subject to information, and some carry tense or agreement patterns. This lesson gives you the full foundation. In action, notice run, write, build. In state, notice know, like, belong. This map gives you the whole lesson in one view. First, notice the main families. Then we will study each one with short, practical examples. A verb is a word that shows action, occurrence, or state. In simple words, a verb tells us what happens, what someone does, or what is true in a situation. That is why the core idea on the screen says that a verb means action or state. Once you understand that idea, it becomes much easier to spot verbs inside real sentences. Now let us compare action verbs and state verbs through the examples on the screen. In the action verb column, look at the sentence Mira writes every day. Here the word write shows an action because it tells us what Mira does. In the second example, the boys played outside, the word played is also an action verb because it shows an activity performed by the subject. Now move to the state verb side. In the sentence I know the answer, the word know does not show physical movement. It shows a state of mind or knowledge. In this bag belongs to me, the word belongs shows relation or possession, so it is a state verb. This is the key difference. Action verbs show doing, while state verbs show condition, feeling, knowledge, or relation. Action verbs show movement, effort, or activity. Sometimes the action is physical, and sometimes it is mental. In physical action, notice run, jump, open. In speaking action, notice say, ask, answer. State verbs show condition, feeling, possession, relationship, or mental state. They often describe what is already true, not what is being actively performed. In feeling, notice like, love, hate. In knowing, notice know, understand, remember. Look at the contrast on the screen. In she writes and they played, the words writes and played are main verbs because they carry the core meaning by themselves. Now look at she is writing. Here writing is still the main verb because it shows the main action, but is helping it to form the tense. In they have played, played carries the main action and have helps to build the structure. So a helping verb supports the main verb, while the main verb carries the central meaning. The most common helping verbs include forms of be, have, and do, along with modals such as will, can, may, should, and must. On the screen, notice be, am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, do, does, did. A verb phrase is a group of words that works together as one verbal idea. For example, is writing is a verb phrase because is helps writing. Has finished is another verb phrase, or has supports finished. And will arrive is also a verb phrase because will helps arrive express future meaning. So when two or more words join to act like one verb unit, we call that a verb phrase. Let us read these examples one by one and identify the action verb naturally. In the child laughed, the word laughed is the action verb because it tells us what the child did. In we built a model, built is the action verb because it shows the work completed by the subject. In I opened the gate, open tells us the exact action performed. And in the bell rang, rang is the action verb because it tells us what happened. In each sentence, the verb adds movement and makes the sentence come alive. These examples help us understand state verbs more clearly. In I know this story, know is a state verb because it shows knowledge, not physical action. In she seems tired, seems describes a condition, so it functions as a state verb. In this pen belongs to me, belongs shows relation or possession. And in we need more time, need expresses a state or requirement. So even when there is no visible action, the sentence still needs a verb to show what is true. One major job of the verb is to show time. That is why tense depends so heavily on verb form and helping verb structure. The key idea on the screen is that verbs help us express present meaning, past meaning, and future meaning. So when tense changes, the verb form usually changes with it. The present simple is used for habits, facts, and routines. On the screen, she walks to school shows a habit because it happens regularly. Water boils at 100 degrees shows a fact because it is generally true. And I study every morning shows a routine because it happens again and again. So when we talk about repeated actions or general truths, the present simple is the natural tense to use. The present continuous usually shows an action happening now or around the present time. In he is reading, the action is happening right now. In they are preparing for exams, the activity may not be happening at this exact second, but it is going on around the present period. Notice the pattern on the screen: am, is, or are plus the verb with ing. That pattern helps us build the present continuous correctly. The past simple is used for completed actions in the past. In we visited Jaipur, the visit is finished. In she called yesterday, the action happened at a definite time in the past. And in he lived there for 5 years, we are talking about a past fact or situation that is complete now. So the past simple helps us speak about finished past events clearly. A common future pattern is will plus the base form of the verb. In I will help you, the speaker makes a decision or offer. In it will rain tonight, will is used for prediction. And in we will call tomorrow, it expresses a promise or future plan stated at the moment. So will plus the base verb is one of the easiest and most useful ways to speak about the future. Verbs must agree with the subject. In the present simple, this often means singular third-person subjects taken as form, while other subjects keep the base form. So when the screen says agreement means the subject and verb match, it is pointing to one of the most important habits in correct English grammar. These examples show subject-verb agreement very clearly. He plays cricket is correct because with he, we use plays in the present simple. They play cricket is also correct because with they, we keep the base form play. Now look at the wrong side. He play cricket is wrong because he needs plays, not play. And they plays cricket is wrong because they takes play, not plays. So always match the verb form to the subject. The base form is the simple dictionary form of the verb, such as play, read, and work. The S form is plays, reads, and works. We usually use the S form with he, she, and it in the present simple. That is why we say he plays, she reads, and it works. Understanding this small change prevents many common grammar mistakes. A verb can appear in several useful forms. On the screen, write is the base form. Wrote is the past form. Written is the past participle. And writing is the ing form. When learners see these forms as one family, tense patterns become easier to understand. You do not have to memorize everything at once, but you should recognize how one verb changes for different jobs. Regular verbs usually add ed in the past. For example, walk becomes walked and open becomes opened. Irregular verbs do not follow that easy pattern. Go becomes went, and write becomes wrote. That is why irregular verbs need special attention. The main idea is simple: some verbs change in a predictable way, and some must be learned as special forms. This frame shows the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. In she opened the door, opened is transitive because the action moves to an object, and that object is the door. In the baby slept, slept is intransitive because the sentence is complete without any object after the verb. So if a verb takes an object, it is transitive. If it stands complete without an object, it is intransitive. Linking verbs do not show action in the usual sense. Instead, they connect the subject to more information. Common linking verbs include be, seem, and become. Their function is to connect the subject to a description or identity. For example, in the soup smells good, the verb smells links the subject soup to the quality good. So the verb is not showing an action done to something, it is connecting the subject with information about it. Compare the two examples carefully. In the child smelled the flower, smelled is an action verb because the child performs an action on the flower. But in the flower smells sweet, smelled is a linking verb because it connects the subject flower to the quality sweet. The same word can act differently depending on how it is used in the sentence. Imperative verbs are used for commands, requests, instructions, or advice. Sit down is a direct command. Please open the book is a polite instruction or request. Listen carefully gives direction, and try again encourages action. In these sentences, the subject is usually not spoken, but the meaning still points to you. That is why imperative sentences often begin directly with the verb. Students often confuse verbs and adverbs, so let us separate them clearly. In the sentence she sings, the word sings is the verb because it shows the action. Now look at she sings beautifully. Here sings is still the verb because it tells us what she does. The word beautifully is not the action itself. It tells us how she sings. So the verb shows the action, and the adverb adds extra detail about the action. Here is a very common present simple mistake. He go to school is wrong because with he we need the S form of the verb. The correct sentence is he goes to school. The reason is simple, in the present simple, he, she, and it usually take the S form. So whenever you see a singular third-person subject, pause and check the verb. Another frequent mistake is mixing time and verb form. Yesterday I go there is wrong because yesterday clearly shows past time. So the verb must also move into the past form. The correct sentence is yesterday I went there. The lesson is that the time idea and the verb form must support each other. Learners sometimes use state verbs in continuous forms where simple forms are more natural. I am knowing the answer sounds unnatural because know is usually a state verb, not an action in progress. The better sentence is I know the answer. So with many state verbs, the simple form is the natural choice. Let us do this sorting task with reasoning. Laughing belongs to the action group because it shows something being done. Know belongs to the state group because it shows a mental condition. Will belongs to the helping group because it helps another verb form future meaning. Became belongs to the linking group because it can connect the subject with a new state or quality. This kind of sorting makes verb categories much easier to remember. Let us solve these quickly. In he play or plays football every Sunday, the correct answer is plays because he needs the S form in the present simple. In we went or go there yesterday, the correct answer is went because yesterday places the action in the past. This is how grammar becomes practical, you match subject, time, and verb form together. Now let us build full verb phrases from short ideas. Right now becomes is writing now because the action is happening at the present moment. Finish already becomes has already finished because it shows completion before now. Go tomorrow becomes will go tomorrow because the idea points to the future. This exercise shows how helping verbs and main verbs combine to create clear time meaning. Let us analyze this sentence as a full system. She has completed the project. The subject is she. The helping verb is has. The main verb is completed. And the time idea is that the action is completed before now. When you learn to see sentences in parts like this, grammar becomes much easier to control. These speaking patterns help you create your own sentences. I usually can begin a habit sentence, such as I usually wake up early. I am can begin an action happening now, such as I am studying grammar. And yesterday I can begin a past event, such as yesterday I met my friend. Using patterns like these makes speaking more natural, fluent, and confident. Let us gather the whole lesson in one quick picture. Verbs can show action, state, or connection. They also control tense, agreement, and sentence flow. And when your verb control becomes strong, your speaking, writing, and grammar accuracy improve together. This is why verbs are such an important foundation in English. In this lesson, we covered what verbs are and why they matter so much in sentence meaning. We compared major verb families such as action verbs, state verbs, helping verbs, and linking verbs. We also practiced verb form, tense, and agreement. So this lesson gives you a strong working foundation for using verbs more accurately in real English. Let us quickly recall the answers. In she is reading, the helping verb is. In he run or runs every day, the correct form is runs because he takes the S form in the present simple. Fast recall like this strengthens memory and helps grammar stay active in your mind. In the next lesson, we will go deeper into helping verbs and verb forms. That will help you build tense patterns more clearly and naturally. So if today gave you the foundation, the next lesson will show you how that foundation works in longer and more accurate sentence structures. If this lesson helped you understand verbs more clearly, please like the video, share it with another learner, and subscribe to the channel. That way you will continue this grammar journey with the next lessons too.